How to change colour.
Happy Wednesday, it's Wednesday here in Australia. So today I'm going to show you how to change colours during a round or a row. So I've just worked up one round of my granny square, just so that you can see. When I like to start this, I like to start with my blue on one side of me when I'm working and yellow on the other, just so it doesn't get all tangled, because when you're working with a lot of different colours, you can get a little bit tangled in all the yarn. So let's get started. I'm just using Fiddlesticks Superb 8 and a 4.5. I like to just go up a bit sometimes with my hook size because I have a tighter tension, not too tight, but a tight one. So when I'm doing this in double crochet US toes, we like to break down, well, we're going to break down our stitches. So there's movements, I call them movements. I don't know what they're technically called. So I'm just going to go through what a movement is. So this is one movement. So it's yarn over, insert your hook. That's basically one. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And then yarn over is another movement and you're pulling through two. And then another movement of yarn over and pulling through two. So I'm going to call these movements during this video for you. And I'm just going to undo what we just did. And let's break it down. So we're going to always change to our new colour on the last movement of a stitch. So I've done our first two, so now I'm up to the last movement. I'm going to get the new working yarn and finish what would have been the yarn over and, where am I, sorry, not in focus, the yarn over and pull through two. Give the previous colour a nice slight tug just to make the stitch resemble the previous stitch and not be so open and loopy. So then you continue to work with the colour that you have just changed. I recommend hiding your tails and keeping your working yarn of the other colour hidden underneath your stitches. So what I mean is yarn over, insert, make sure that your yarn is above your hook. So then yarn over and pull up. That way you can kind of see it's all neat and tucked in. Finish your stitch and then it's actually traveling along with you. All right, we'll just keep going around and I'll show you again like normal, making sure I have my working yarn and my other yarn along with me. Okay, sorry, get some yarn. So now I'm going to show you how to change again. So yarn over, we'll do our first two movements of this stitch, get to the last movement. I'm going to just hide that working yarn out the way. I'm going to pick up my blue, which is this one, and then we finish the stitch with the yarn over and pull through the last two, giving your previous yarn a nice tug. Excuse me. So once again, putting our yarn underneath, or on top of, but underneath the stitch, just to keep it nice and neat. When you're working with lots of colours, which you will most likely do, it is very handy and it keeps everything nice and neat. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. So I'm just going to come around here and show you once again on this stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, pick up my working yarn, or my new colour, sorry, and yarn over and finish the stitch. Oh, hi Tiny, if you can hear that ringing, that is my cat coming to say hello and don't sit on my lap. Same thing, continue, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over and pull through two, keeping all your working tails and previous tails. Tiny, on my lap. Get off. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that with another few stitches that we use. And I'll just finish this off quickly before my cat knocks my setup. Seriously, Tiny? I know you like attention and cuddles and love, which I love, but this is like the most inappropriate time. Okay, I'll quickly show you again. Ta-da! Swap your yarn out the way. Finish the stitch because I want to show you quickly how nice and neat and even this looks. Just slip stitch to the top of the chain. Okay, so as you can see, apart from obviously the tails, which we'll cut, this is the back side. I'm going to focus so you can actually see how neat it is. Things are hidden, tails are hidden. You can see it, obviously, duh, it's not invisible, it's just kept nice and neat out of the way. And you can see here at the top of these stitches that, oh, sorry, she jumped off. Okay, you lost my focus. That each stitch has its top is the same color as the rest of the stitch, because I know that there are some ways that you can change colors when this part of the stitch is a different color. But I like it looking nice and uniform. Oh look, it's kind of similar, matchy-matchy. Okay, I'll be back in a second and I'm going to show you how it looks when I have a bigger piece and different colored yarns, and some different ways with single crochet and half double and all that sort of stuff. So I shall return. Okay, so I'm actually doing this tutorial to show you how to make this particular pattern. Well, not this pattern yet, but because of this pattern, this is why I'm doing the tutorial. So as you can see here, this one is made up of rounds, and I'm actually using 5 colors once I get out of this part here on each round. So on the back of this is where you really want to be cautious about carrying your yarn and keeping everything nice and neat. So that's basically how it looks if you carry your yarn and keep it under your stitches, which you can see in certain parts, because there are no stitches, it comes a little bit more forward, but it is quite a neat looking pattern. So that's what it looks like with 5 different colors. Oh, I'm not technically carrying 5 colors, but each round has 5 colors. So instead of working the pink around and the pink around, the pink stops here and I kind of drag it back. So it's only worked in this little section. So I'll show you this one. It's a little bit messier because I wasn't really paying attention at the start. So you can see here where I haven't pulled my main color, which I call this part here. It's a little bit loose, but where I have remembered to, it is actually quite nice and neat. So, yeah. So that is the same as what we're doing now, is just carrying one color for one round, the next color for the next, the next color for the next. So we're not multi-changing from one to the next, one to the next. Well, we are, but just one working color and then the other color. So it's the same with these two as well. So yes, even things that may seem like they're not going to be pretty on one side, they actually are. So let's continue with our little tutorial on how to do single crochets in US terms. Wait, twisted. Okay, so let me make sure you're nice and focused. All right, once again, I've got my blue over here and my yellow on the right, and we're going to break it down into movements. So there's basically, I think there's like 3. So we're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop. Well, no, there's kind of like 2, and then yarn over and pull through. So I'll focus back in there. So now that I've done the first part of this, I'm going to grab my new color, get it ready, and finish this stitch with the last movement of pulling it through, so that we are ready to use the new color in the next stitch. I'm also keeping my tails woven in, and I don't know which side is the wrong or right side with this, but I'll show you. So I'm just going to work, say 3 stitches so you can see, and then, well, we'll do 4 stitches. So now I'm going to change on the 4th, making sure our tails are there. Our first part of the stitch, our first movement, and then changing color, yarn over and pull through. Ta-da! Okay, so when we want to get back, say this is the right side we're working now, I'm just going to zoom along because I think, because we're carrying our yarn, oh, I should have left my yarn there actually. Because I'm going to show you the yellow above the yellow, I'm going to just undo what I've done. I'm going to leave the yellow tail there. I don't want to carry it because we're going to use it. So I want it on this side. Boop. Bring it over here. I think. Let's just wing it together, shall we? And then continue with our, whoopsies, singles or doubles, whichever terms you like to work off. I know it's a bit strange being an Aussie and having US terms, but I do like them. I just do. Just makes sense to my brain, although sometimes the UK's make more sense. The UK stitches terminology. Okay. All right, so as you can see here, I'm just about to start working in the yellow stitches. So this is our stitch that we're going to change our colors in. It's always going to be the previous stitch. So I'm going to actually bring this yarn through here this way. Okay, so I'm holding my blue yarn on this side. We're going to finish the stitch. And because I'm having, this is the wrong side now. So I want to travel the yarn on this side of my stitch. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. So actually it probably doesn't matter. So we're going to insert our hook into the actual stitch, trying to keep the yarn that we're working on this part and pull through. It might not work, it might not. So then we're continuing all the way along, because I obviously don't do very many patterns with this particular method, but it keeps this blue on the front or the wrong side. Okay, so now I've done my 4 stitches. I'm going to swap my yarn again. I'm going to leave it there because we're going to work on it when we come back. So leaving my yarn, I'm not going to bring it through with us. Quickly work some stitches for you. Coming back around on our right side. This one I didn't put on the other side, but we can easily do that because it's already cut. So working along, oh look, we're almost at that stitch. It's now time to change our color. Oh, actually I probably should have kept that on the other side. Oh well, you know now. How does it look? Kind of could maybe get away with it. Let's see. I'm going to travel this yarn because I'm using it up at the other end. Okay, we can kind of get away with that because it looks like part of the single crochet or double crochet stitch. Traveling with my blue yarn as well at the back, aka wrong side. Oh wow, I've done my 4 just about. Time to change yarn. Flunk. Okay, last part of my stitch. Yarn has been changed. Leaving my pretty yellow and continue working. So when you do change colors, oh, I ran out of yarn. Always remember to do it on the stitch before you need that new color. So pretend that's not there. Oh look, it's all pretty. So that's that there. Let's turn around. And there you can see that side as well. So yes, that's how we do it with single crochets. I'm going to quickly jump to our half doubles or half trebles. Hey, not ready to turn. Grab some yarn. Okay, so the same concept again, always with your movements. I'm just classifying that chain 2 as a HDC. So yarn over, pull up a loop, because there's basically the same 2 movements on this stitch. This is the last part we're going to do. Oh well, let's pretend my yarns. Let's cut that. Don't really need that. Okay, where are you? Tail. Okay, we're now finishing the last movement of this stitch. So the usual, yarn over and pull through all 3. See how you need to give it that little bit of a tug just to bring that stitch back down. I'm going to say back down to reality. Okay, once again, I'm going to cover both the working tail and the tail of the yellow for now. So I'm not doing anything fancy with it. Ta-da! Okay, I'm going to do something different. Let's go and change it here so that we're going to have our first part or first movement of that stitch. Grab your new yarn and pull through. Oh, where's my tail? Pulling the wrong yellow. Too many yellows. Be careful not to pull the wrong tail because otherwise it will pull your previously worked stitches kind of tight and make them look ugly. So same thing, carrying your working yarn over. Oh, that's just how you do a half double. Yarn over, pull through 3, and so forth. Okay, we already know how to do those. So I'm going to change my yarn here. So I've done the first part of my stitch. I'm going to swap and find the new color, yarn over and pull through 3, giving that a nice tug, and continue. So basically the rule is, if you'd like there to be a rule, always change color on the previous stitch in the last movement of that stitch, if that makes sense. So when we're wanting yellow, we change it in the last movement of the previous blue. So when I would have done these colors as well, oh well, sorry, focus, I would have changed on this yellow, so that was a single crochet, so I'd have changed on the second movement, and when I finished my special stitch here, I would have done it on the last movement of that special stitch, so forth. So yes, I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial and I hope you have learned something. I really do, because I think this is a good little skill to have up your sleeve, because you can work so many different patterns with it, like this square, which I will be releasing soon as an example, and I may even do a special tutorial for it for people who actually buy the pattern, so that you can make it along with me. So yes, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, etc., and hit that notification bell. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for some more tutorials, and of course, happy hooking. Bye bye, see ya.